Hi everyone, Frankie here from the Psych Professionals. I'm coming to you live today from the Capalaba office. I'm seeing clients today. Today's my client day, so it's one of my favourite days of the week actually. But I thought I'd come to you live today to chat about autism. Given that it is Autism Awareness Month, I thought that it would be a good idea to explain to some people what autism actually is. I think there are a lot of preconceived ideas about what it might be, but I wanted to clear it up with the criteria, what we look at when we're diagnosing autism, so that hopefully it can increase people's understanding of what it's all about, and also it can help with awareness in terms of, you know, maybe parents out there, what to look for in your child and that sort of thing. So basically, autism involves two different clusters of symptoms. So the criteria states that autism has to have both of these symptoms, so just one without the other isn't enough to justify a diagnosis. So they need both of these clusters of symptoms, and these symptoms have to have been present from very early childhood. It doesn't mean that it has to be diagnosed then, because these symptoms can be missed and not picked up on, but they have to have at least been there since early childhood. So the first of these clusters of symptoms is a difficulty with social communication. So social communication can mean a huge variety of things, and for individuals with autism, sometimes they present with these social communication difficulties in different ways. So some of the examples of these difficulties are, you know, sometimes they don't use language to communicate at all. Sometimes they don't respond to language. That's probably more at the severe end. For others, it's around not being able to initiate social interactions, finding that really difficult. It might be not understanding or using non-verbal gestures, so whether that be waving or other non-verbal gestures that we use in our communication with others. Also facial expressions, so not using their face to communicate and not understanding the facial expressions of others. It can also impact imaginative play. So with the youngsters especially, it's really normal for them to be using their imagination in play, but sometimes in children with autism, they find this really difficult. So you might see that this doesn't happen so much. So that's basically the first cluster of symptoms, the social communication. The second cluster of symptoms is repetitive or restrictive behaviour or interests. Again, there's a wide variety of how this presents, but it can be anywhere from, lining up toys. That's a really common one. It can be very narrow interests, so something that a very narrow topic that they're really focused on talking about, playing with, all of that sort of thing. It can be the repetitiveness can be around routine, so not handling when routine is changed, or when they're not able to do the things that they would usually do in any given day. So definitely a change in routine. They want things the same way often. It can also be changing from one activity to another. So this is in relation to transitioning, particularly at school. That can be a problem when they have to regularly change from one thing to another. Often it also incorporates some kind of sensory sensitivity. So this can be, being really sensitive to tags on clothes or noises or a whole range of different things. So it can be both a sensory sensitivity, but they can also seek sensory input at times too. So as I said, both of those two clusters of symptoms are important when we're looking at a diagnosis of autism. The DSM-5, so that's the new book that came out recently that we use to diagnose autism, also decided that it's important for us to give a bit of a ranking in terms of severity. So we can rank both the social communication difficulties, but also the restrictive and repetitive behaviours, because for some kids with autism, one is worse than the other. So this ranking, what it tells us is how much support they need in these areas. So it ranges from 1 to 3, where 1 is the least amount of support, and 3 is, you know, it has a huge impact on their day-to-day life. So it's a lot more need for support. So I hope that helped to explain what autism is. I see that Liz has joined us live today. So hi Liz, and thanks for listening. If you feel like someone in your life might benefit from hearing this video, please share or tag them in it. If there's any other ways that you want people to know that autism presents, maybe, you know, your child does A, B or C and people don't realize that that's part of autism, please comment below. We really need to be getting the word out there on what it's all about and increasing people's understanding. So our motto here at the Psych Professionals is that we're here to help you live the life you deserve. So feel free to pick up the phone or jump on our website if there's any way that we can help. But otherwise, I will see you tomorrow. Bye guys.